Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're doing good and well. So it's time for a new album ranking on the channel, and this time I'm ranking the albums of the Italian power metal band known as Frozen Crown. Now Frozen Crown have 5 studio albums to their name, so I'll be ranking those from my least favourite album to my favourite in the usual format here. So I'll be working my way from my number 5 up to my number 1. Now, considering they've only been around for about 8 years, it's very impressive that they have 5 studio albums to their name already. But I think it's even more impressive that all 5 of those studio albums are at the very least good. Some of them are, I would say, great as well. And I think the reason why they've been consistently of a certain quality as you go from album to album, for me, is probably because of the songwriting partnership of Federico Mondelli, the guitarist, and Giada Etro, the singer. They have had other band members as well. They had a pretty big rotation, I think, in their lineup before the release of third album Winterbane. And we saw 3 new band members coming in then. Those were, I believe, Fabiola Bellomo, Nisso Tomasini, and Francesco Zoff. Very recently, sadly, Fabiola Bellomo, the guitarist, has actually left the band and been replaced by new band member Alexandra Lioness, who's just recently joined the band. So it could be interesting to see what she brings to the Frozen Crown formula in the future. But yeah, I think that, if you don't know this band and you're into power metal, I almost say, where have you been for the last 7 years? This is a great band. You need to check them out. Don't hang around any longer. And after you've watched this ranking, go and check out all 5 of these albums, because I think you'll probably rank these differently to me. There's never one right way of doing these rankings generally, I would say. So yeah, do let me know how you'd rank these albums in the comments. And otherwise, without any more wasting of time, let's crack on with this album ranking, starting with my least favourite here, which is second album, Crowned in Frost, from 2019. Now I have 4 of the albums, of the 5 albums, on CD. I'm waiting for the 5th one to arrive in the post. Yes, I'm a big fan of this band. So Frozen Crown's Crowned in Frost, still a good record. I find for me this one starts off really strong. But it doesn't quite retain my attention in the way other records from this band do. For me, I think it's because there's too much similarity in the formula of songs on this album. But yeah, it starts off great with tracks like Never Ending, In the Dark, and Battles in the Night, which are actually probably my 3 favourites from this record. But as it goes on, as you certainly get into the second half of the record, I find it feels like to me that there's something similar in the songs. There's just that similar formula, similar sort of style to each one. Whereas in other albums, they change it up a bit better for me, perhaps is the way of putting it. So this one is my least favourite, Crowned in Frost from 2019. Now next up is the only album I don't have on CD, at least not yet. That's their debut album, The Fallen King. This is tough for me because I think, if I wanted to, I could have cheated and tied this album with my number 3 because I kind of consider both albums equally good, but I forced myself to decide on a number 4 and a number 3 instead of saying tied at 3rd place or, some kind of cop-out like that. But yeah, Fallen King, great debut album, I still think. Tracks like To Infinity, Kings, and Everwinter, really enjoy those. Incidentally, Kings and Everwinter, I think, were 2 of the singles, or they've certainly got videos to those songs. Great songs, really, really good record. And, you always feel bad putting an album which is this strong low down in a ranking, even though, there are just 5 albums here and this is at number 4. I still feel bad that this album is quite low down because it feels like you're saying it's not great when it is damn great. So don't be misled by this ranking at all. Coming up at number 3, I've got their latest album, War Hearts, which did very well in my end of year list, actually. It came in at number 16 last year. And this is a fast and furious Frozen Crown record, one of their fastest, with obviously the 3 guitarists here at play. Because, of course, you had Alessia, Fabiola, and Federico, with fireworks of, guitar leads and guitar patterns everywhere. You get a fabulous record here instrumentally. I think the songs are great too, so you kind of get the whole package. For me, if I have one criticism, it's a little bit one pace at times, but at the same time, there's still those things you look for in a Frozen Crown album. There's great guitar solos, great vocals from Jade, great songwriting as always. and some absolutely fantastic tracks like To Live to Die, Bloodlines, and perhaps my favourite from this record, Ice Dragon, which was one of my top 5 songs of 2024. So, you know, some really, really great stuff on this album. Hugely enjoyable, but yeah, certainly one of the faster, you know, more sort of guitar work, furious. I don't know how to put it. There's more hyper guitar work at play here, and it's just really, really good. Coming in at number 2, we've got 2021's Winterbane. Great album, and you know, this is an album where I think there was a little bit more variety at play, and they experimented a bit more. You know, I think after Crowned in Frost, perhaps they decided that, you know, they did need to try a few new things, and it worked for me for the most part. I think this is an excellent, excellent album. You've got stuff like Towards the Sun on here. In fact, you know, so many of these albums start off brilliantly. Frozen Crown know how to kick off their records. They do usually. The first 3 or 4 tracks are all just spectacular and brilliant, I find. And yeah, Towards the Sun, Far Beyond, The Lone Stranger, all great tracks. Probably my favourites would be, if you maybe name 3, Towards the Sun, The Lone Stranger, and The Water Dance from this one, I think, are just superb songs. So that's my number 2. Now, of course, that only leaves one album that I can choose for number 1 by process of elimination. And I probably gave the game away to some of you that follow my channel for a while with my power metal albums ranking from last year at some point, where I did name Call of the North actually as one of my top 10 favourite power metal albums of all time. And this, my friends, is an album you do want to check out. This is Call of the North. And this is a fantastic album because not only does it have lots of peaks and lots of really great Frozen Crown moments with guitar work and singing, songwriting, you know, instrumental changes, and just generally catchy, memorable songs. But it's also got the other thing that is great to have with albums, which is it has the cohesion. It is a really, really sort of a record that works really well as one listen, and they change things up just enough, I think, with sort of kind of ballads like Victorious, which has a part in it at least where they slow down with acoustic guitars. You get some tracks which are a little bit more anthemic, and they emphasize, you know, the chorus is a bit more, and you know, it's just a great record from start to finish. And I highly recommend you do. You know, if you start with anything, maybe start with Call of the North, because I mean, you can't go far wrong with this album. You can't go far wrong with Call of the North. And yeah, like I say, if you like your power metal, you don't want to be missing out on Frozen Crown. They are an absolutely, you know, blistering, melodic, smart, enjoyable, all those words come to mind when I think of this band, and it's why I've become a fan. I've only been a fan for about 12 to 15 months maybe, so not a long time fan, not been around since the start, but you know, it didn't take me long to get into these albums. And you know, like I say, you do need to check them out if you like power metal and you haven't checked them out yet. So that's it from me. Do let me know your Frozen Crown rankings in the comments. I look forward to hearing from you. But until next time, I will see you around, and don't forget to drop a like and a sub if you're new to the channel. Just got to 700, I think, but let's make sure we keep going here and start to get the channel towards what is kind of a bucket list goal for me, which is getting the channel to 1,000 subscribers eventually. So until next time, from me, it is bye for now.